Hello everyone, Flying Dutch here. Welcome back to part 2 in the tutorial for complete beginners of Victoria 2. Last episode we started with explaining what the goal of the game is and what you want to try to do, and we went over this tab, this one, the production budget and technology tab, and we give some explanation of it. This episode we will go over the politics. Maybe we can do all 5. I think I want to stay with 30-minute videos. And when we have explained everything, we can maybe start playing the game. So let's continue with the politics screen. You see a lot of symbols down here. These will glow up when you can interact with it. When you have rebels in your nation, this flag will become highlighted. When you have elections, this will be highlighted. When you can do a decision, you can click this button. And when you can do a reform, this hammer or law thingy will also rise up. You cannot conquer the world without a infamy limit. This is some sort of aggressive expansion in EU4, and I think infamy is also in other older Paradox games like EU3. You need to stay below 25. If you go over 25 infamy, the whole world declares war on you, and you're gonna get wrecked, unless you are prepared for it. Also have suppression points you can use to suppress rebels. We now have the Conservativa Partiet, the Conservative Party in power. Now let's click on this button. Here you can see that we have Her Majesty's government. I think that is what its HM means. I'm not actually sure. We cannot really change this. But it means that we have elections. We get more plurality, which is very useful for research points. Yeah, I did not talk about the research things actually, so we need to talk about that after this one. And we have a revanchism. It's the yearning for the return of land lost to the nation. I'm not 100% sure what this does actually, but we will see. Right now, this is how our upper house is divided. We have 5% reactionary, 60% conservative, and 35% are liberal people. We cannot enact social reforms, and we cannot enact political reforms, because only 35% of the upper house is in favor. So the liberals are only in favor of doing political reforms. When you click this button, you can select a new ruling party, and all the parties have their own things. For example, the conservatives have a protectionism trade policy. Trade between nations is restricted. We can only do a minimum tariff of minus 25%, so they get money from the government if they buy from the world market, or they have to pay double and give the half of the state to the state. The liberals have free trade, and the nationalists have also protectionism, so there is not a lot of difference there. But the economic policy, we now have state capitalism. The state controls the commanding heights of the economy, but limited free enterprise is allowed. So we always have to tax people. We can build factories, we can expand factories, we can destroy them, we can open them, we can build railways, we can prioritize factories, and so on and so on. We can do everything, and the state controls this. I like that, because then I can make my own plan. The religious policy is pluralism. The state religion is actively promoted, but other religions are tolerated. This can be good for other religions that you maybe conquer later on. Citizenship. Only people of your nation's primary culture are allowed to vote. And war policy is jingoism. The military is the centerpiece of the state, and military spending is prioritized. And this is very good because you make casus belli quicker. As you can see, the last line. And the quicker you can get a CB on a certain country by just going to their diplomacy screen and get a claim, the better it is, I think, for your chance to get caught. Because when you get caught for a claim, you get infamy. Now, the nationalists are also having jingoism. Also residency, but they have moralism. The church and state are a single body, and religious minorities face discrimination. And later on, you also get the socialists, the communists, and so on, because you get more social reforms. People become socialist. And that is just how it goes. So for now we are with the conservatives, and that's completely fine. You can change this whenever you want. You can just click it. Now here you can see the reforms. Later on, people want to have a minimum wage. They want get to 10-hour workdays or 8-hour workdays. Right now they only work. And there are no safety regulations. And all these things give bonuses. And factories become less efficient. You can get unemployment subsidies. And of course all these social reforms give immigration, because people think they have a better future over here. Pensions. And people are old, they get pensions. Healthcare, which is very important because population growth. And the school system, which is very important for education efficiency. We really want the healthcare and school system as quickly as we can. Slavery is outlawed. The upper house is 2 per state represented, and later on you get, I think, some sort of points to do a reform, and then you can see what your people want. You cannot see that right now, actually. Oh wait, I have to close. Here you can see what our people are going for right now. 12% are voting for jingoism, which is good for the conservatives and the nationalists. They like protectionism, they like state capitalism, they like moralism, which is only our religion counts and others face discrimination. People are pro-military, they like pluralism, and so on and so on. Some people are actually liking planned economy. And the more people get conscious, and I'm not really going to explain this because it doesn't really matter. The more people think about their life and think, hey, maybe we should do something better about this or that. Or people want to vote more and so on. And then that will get into the important issues tab here. If people want something, then you can help them by clicking the certain reform. Now that are the reforms. They will pop up automatically when this hammer goes green. Here you can see your rebels and your suppression points. No, we don't have any rebels right now. Here are all the decisions you can click. If there is something you can click, this checkmark icon will glow up and then you can click it. For example, as Sweden, at some point, when we have a consciousness of at least 4, we have 2 now, we can abandon our course on Finland. We are not going to do it. Then this option will become available. We also have För brödra folkens fel. We need to be a great power. We need 45 prestige. And then we can get 21 prestige and we form Scandinavia. So we can do this when we can sphere Denmark. And we want to sphere Denmark as quickly as we can. But we can only sphere them when we are rank 8. It's going to be our first objective. We also have the Volksskolereformen, which we can do when we have the ideological thought, which is this technology, this one. Maybe we should actually do this very quickly, now I think about it. Because what do we get? We get 1% research points modifier. It's 1%, but it's still 1%. And there are more, we have the Motala Werkstad over here. And you just get a Norrköping Motala Werkstad factory, throughput and prestige. And we want prestige because that gives more ranking points. And we need a machine parts factory in Svealand. So we have to build the machines part factory in Svealand. And restore the academia. I don't think you want to do this because you just lose prestige. So it's also already uncheckmarked, so it will not glow up when we can click it. These ones will glow up over here because it has a checkmark over here. You can also release nations. You can release Jan Mayen in this game, and we can release Norway. We lose infamy when we do this, but we of course don't want to do this. We want to make a Scandinavia. But that is the politics, so I had to go back to technology. You have a literacy rate that goes up by your clergyman in your states. And you have a research points. Now, your clergyman, you want to have 2% of your population clergyman, because then you get the maximum amount of research points from your clergyman. You can see all the other things. We are a secondary power, so we get 1.25. When you're a great power, maybe you get 2.5, I'm not sure. We will see when we become a great power. We have 80% literacy, so we have plus 3.19 there, that's a lot. We have 5.2 base. Our plurality is 50%. And we have 50% from our improved technology. And that gives us a total of 10.39. So the total of 5.2, which is the total of 3.20 plus 1.25 plus 0.75. And then you get the bonuses of 100%. Then we get 10.39. If we get the technology of idealism in 1840, we get another 50% bonus. Now, we will not get 50% over 10. The improved technology bonus goes from 50 to 100. So we get a 1/3 bonus. So we go from 10 to, what is it? Almost 14. But that's a huge jump. So that is how that works. You can also get more clergymen, but we will go over those when I explain all the pops. Now over here, the population tab. Here you can see your male population. Your male population is everything in this game. The other ones don't really exist. Yep, that's how it works. And we have 2 national focus points that we can use. And you can use these on your states. We will go over that. Let's go over it right now, actually. So when you open the population tab, you can see in Sweden. You click on Sweden, you select all your states. You can see that 50% of our population are farmers. Of our male population. Our total population is 4.17. 1.04 are our working male population. So we have 500,000, a bit more, farmers in Sweden. We have 37.5 laborers who mine in the coal mines and the iron mines. We have 8.2 artisans, who are the people who are making goods. You can see them as the blacksmiths or the local furniture guy. We have 2.5% soldiers, which means 2.5% of 1 million is 25,000, right? So we can build 25,000 troops at the moment. Something like that. Excuse me. We have clergymen, 0.5%. And we want this to be at least 2%. And we are going to work on that very soon. We have some aristocrats who own RGOs. The bureaucrats, we want to have at least 1%. And officers, we don't have any capitalists and clerks right now, but we will get those when we are building factories. Everything is Protestant in our country. Here you can see what they vote. No, that is what everyone wants, and this is what people can vote who have the rights to vote at this point. And the dominant issues that we also saw in the politics screen. Now when you click on size, for example, here you can see that every pop is doing something. We have 69,000 farmers in Malmö who are Protestant. And we also have 63,000 Swedish farmers in Växjö who are also Protestant. If you have farmers who are Catholic in Växjö, they will have their own spot over here. Now you can see that we have 48,000 laborers mining iron. Laborers are woodcutters. Farmers are also the fishers, and so on, and so on, and so on. And all these people do something. Here you can see that we have actually 10,000 artisans producing luxury furniture. That's a lot. Later on we are going to build a factory, so the artisans don't have to do this anymore, but the craftsmen. And you can see all the information. I think, yeah, when you click on one state, you can see the difference in each state. For example, in Svealand we have a lot of laborers, because we have a coal and an iron mine over there. And when we go to Vestlandet, we have a lot of farmers again. In Norrland we have almost only laborers. That is interesting. Very interesting. And this is our total. Now these focus points are these things. We have 2 focus points right now. And with your technology, your ideological thought, you can get an extra 1. But you can only use this when you have a certain population. Let's see if I can see how much population you need for your 3rd one. No, I can't really see it. So what I want to do at the start of the game, I want to go to my biggest state, which is this one with 360,000 working adult people. Götaland, I think how you pronounce it in Swedish. And you can encourage things here to do. Maybe you want immigrants. Maybe you want more aristocrats. No, you don't. You never want that. Maybe you want more artisans. No, you never want that. Maybe you want more bureaucrats. Yes, we do want it, but when our slider is at 100%, we get them automatically. Maybe you want capitalists. No, we don't have any factories yet. Maybe we want clergymen. Yes, we want more clergymen. We give 20% more encouragement for people to become a clergyman. So let's click this. And now we will try to get more clergymen over here. Now we have 1 more spot over left. So I'm also going to do it in my 2nd most populated state. And try to get more clergymen over there. So we can get the clergymen to 2%. At least 2%. More is not a bad thing. Because they can give more literacy to your people quicker. But at least 2% in your country. So you will get clergymen very quickly. Because we are focusing on it. And we are paying a lot of money to clergymen. So people want to become a clergyman. Very, very quickly. Now that is all you need to know. You can click on a state and you can see in every province what people are doing over there. In Kalmar, people are laborers. For example. Okay, that was the population tab. Then we have trade. Here you can see all the goods and their prices. Now, I always automate everything in this game. If you just automate your trade, you're completely fine. At the start of the game, everyone wants clipper convoys because people want to build transport ships. Now, how does it work? Who is going to get access to the clipper convoys that are sold on the world market? If we would be a rank number 1 country, we would always be first. So that means that we can start buying the goods from the world market, but we are number 9. So if the 8 countries above us in the rank are all building transport ships, and they are maintaining their ships, then we will not have any access to these goods. We have to wait until the other countries are filled with their needs first. That is why having a clipper factory is also very useful at the start of the game, but it's expensive. So, and then you have to decide, is it worth it to spend 30,000 of our money, we have only 5,000 right now, to build a clipper convoy factory? I don't think it is, but because later you also have steamers, and steamers are quicker transports. Maybe you want to focus on building your own steamer factory. Right now the United Kingdom is making 4 a day, I think that's a day. And when you click on these things, you see a graph, and you will see that from the clipper convoys, the price will go up immediately. And the same counts for the machine parts, because everyone wants to build factories, and they need to be maintained by machine parts, and only the United Kingdom and France are making some right now. So maybe we should try to focus on getting a machine parts factory, and be the top producer, and sell it to the world. That is what you can focus on. If you play as the Netherlands, you have a coffee. You can see it over here. A coffee monopoly almost. If you sphere Brazil as the Netherlands, you have their coffee as well. And then all the coffee that you are not using, for example, your people that are working in the middle group or the rich group will need more coffee. Then the rest will be sold to the world market to anyone else. And that's how you can make a monopoly and make money of it. There's also opium, which is very much the United Kingdom's monopoly. Wine can be produced everywhere. Liquor we can also produce in a factory, and so on, and so on, and so on. So you don't need to see and check this a lot, but here you can at least see how it works and that the prices are going up when things are in high demand. I think it goes with 0.01 a day. Or 0.5, but let's see what happens when I unpause the game soon. You can also buy it yourself and make a stockpile for your own things. You can say, well, I need machine parts and I need the clipper convoys. Let's try to get as many clipper convoys as we can. I can actually try this because we want clipper convoys. We want to try to build them. Let's try to build, to buy 10 of them. They are worth 42, so that will spend 420 ducats. Let's get a bit more. I will try to buy 20 clipper convoys. Hopefully we can get it before the other great powers are going to build their transports, because then we cannot get them anymore, because we are rank 9 and not in the top 8. So that is the trade interface, and here you can see the goods that we are exporting the most. So we have a lot of timber into Sweden, no surprise of course. Fish and lumber. The fish and lumber we don't use will be sold on the world market. And we are importing coal, wool and fruit. Now that importing of coal is actually not very nice. You really want coal and iron, because then you can start industrializing. So hopefully we can find some more coal somewhere. Should be one of the priorities. But that is the trade thing. Diplomacy next. How much time do I have left? 10 minutes left. Yeah, the diplomacy screen you open when you right click on your nation or you click on this one. If I right click on the United Kingdom, I can see their alliances and stuff. And when I click on my flag, we go to the war screen. When you click on diplomacy, you just open it again. So when you click on diplomacy, you can see the great powers and their numbers. Here you can sphere a country with your influence points. So we cannot do this because we are not a great power, but hopefully later on we can. And you can, of course, when I right click on Prussia, for example, I can ask them if they want an alliance. I can get military access, I can increase our relations. Then this number goes up. But you have to keep in mind, in this game you have a limited amount of diplomatic points. You get more when you are a great power or secondary power. And you need those points to declare war, form an alliance, increase relations, add people to your sphere, and so on and so on. So there is a limit of 9, so when you are at 9 you should use it. But yeah, there is a limited amount of things you can click in the diplomacy screen. But we get 0.3 a month, that is a lot actually. So that is this screen over here. You can see that Prussia has sphered all these minor German nations, because he's trying to form the North German Federation, which was the first united Germany country. And he can do that when he is sphering all these German minors, including Hanover. But right now, Hanover, and I will just quickly use an extra map mode, Hanover is not sphered by Prussia, but by United Kingdom. And this sphere will go away when Victoria is getting crowned, Victoria the Queen. And then Prussia can take Hanover, they need to take some Danish stuff, and then they can, I think, form the North German Federation. Oh yeah, and they need Saxony as well, which is now part of Austria. So we are in no one's sphere right now, which is not that great actually. If the United Kingdom would sphere us, we can have access to their goods and all their other nations that are in their sphere, including India. I think that is how it works. So yeah, when we are a great power, we can sphere the nations, and it will color up in the sphere of influence map mode over here. Let's go back to political. Is there anything else we want to see? You can see the wars. You can see war justifications. If people are going to get a CBs from on someone, you can see it over here. And all the wars. The Ottomans are now at war with Tripoli, and the Texans are at war with Mexico, and they try to become independent at the start of the game. Now there are 4 symbols here. When you're colonizing and something you have to click, this will highlight. And there is a crisis that is later in the game. This will highlight, and then we will explain what is happening over there. When you are a great power and you can sphere a nation, or you can also increase opinion with some of these countries. You can see this one highlighting up. And when we are a great power and we are on the urge of losing it, so we go out of the top 8, this will highlight, and then you have to take measures to stay as a great power. So that is the diplomacy screen. The military screen. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna explain a lot about military at the start of the game. The only thing you need to know is that you can build armies, that there are certain units, and that artillery is a very good unit as long as there is one other unit to protect it in the front row. Because they have a support modifier of 200%. A support unit is something that goes on the back row when they are fighting an army. I think a plane is also a support. I think that are the only supports. Is there anything else that is support? Oh, and an engineer is a support. So artillery, engineer, and planes. So if you build planes, 10 planes and 10 infantry, then you have 10 infantry in the front, you have 10 planes in the back row. A plane is having 10 defense, which is multiplied by 2 because the support value is 200%. That makes planes very good as a defensive unit. And here you can see where we have enough population that are soldiers that we can build one of these things. For example, in Sweden, we already have a artillery brigade that is built from Stockholm. We can build a second one from Stockholm because we have 4,000 people here that are soldiers. And let's find the one that we already have. Where is the Stockholm one? Look, we have a guard unit from Stockholm. That is the unit that is already built from the province of Stockholm, where we have a certain amount of soldiers. And that is listed over here. Generals and stuff, no, I'm just not going to go and talk about it. No, not yet. So that is the military screen. When we go to war, I will talk a bit about how combat works and why cannons are so good. Let's go over all the map modes. We have the terrain map mode you start the game in, which is not very useful. Political, so you can see what the countries are and the borders are. Then you have an infrastructure map mode. This one will highlight when you have the ability to build railroads, and railroads are good for your factories. But when the time is there and when we can build a factory, I will explain what a railroad is doing for you. Now, the diplomacy screen. Stripes are your cores. Yellow stripes are your, I think, Scandinavian stuff. And when we would have an alliance with Prussia, it will also be highlighted in your diplomacy screen. Regions, these are all your, I call them states. This is a state, the green state, the red state. And Uppsala, Stockholm, Västerås, Falun are provinces in the state. There's a revolt risk. There is no revolt risk. 0. We have 0 militancy. We have an administrative map mode. This will increase with your bureaucrats. The state admin efficiency in this state, for example, is 81.6. So we have a lot of bureaucrats in this state. In this one, it's only 29%. So when you click on it, you can see over here how many bureaucrats you have. We have 81.6 state admin efficiency. Over here, we have only 29% state efficiency, because we have only 0.29% of the population in the state as a bureaucrat. And that is why you want to get this number to 100%. These are your aristocrats who own an RGO. And I think I will talk about RGOs in the next episode, when we are going to explain the pops a bit more. But yeah, you want this number to be at 100%. And that will go automatically because we are spending a lot of money on our bureaucrats. So people will promote to bureaucrats or demote. Then we have the Colonial Map Mode. Here you can see where we can colonize. I think this is our colonial range. Yeah, so we cannot even reach further than this province of Portugal. So we could, if we can colonize the coast, we don't have the range for it. So we really want to conquer coastal stuff so we can extend our colonial range. That's also something you wanna do a bit. Recruitment Map Mode. Where you can recruit armies. No, I never use that one. Our national focuses are over here. Naval Map Mode is very interesting, because this one will tell you where you can build a naval base. And I told in the first episode, naval bases are useful for your colonial power. And more colonial power you have, the more you can colonize. Now you can see that this state, you only highlight the coastal provinces, is dark green. That means that there is a naval base in Stockholm. You can also see it on the map, that there is a base over here. And you can see here that the naval base is level 1. The naval base of level 1 gives colonial range, but it also gives you colonial power. And certain ships can only be built by a certain level of naval base, so you want to build these as a colonial power wherever you can. Now in this state we also have it built. This is green. In Karlskrona, you can see it on the map. Now in this state, the state of Ostlandet, which is this part and 2 coastal ones, is not having a naval base yet, so we could build a naval base here or here. But we don't have the money for it at the start of the game, so I'm not going to do it. We have a naval base in this state. There's one on the map here. But we can still build a naval base in this state, this Norwegian state, and this Norwegian state. So we can build 3 more. Now they are costing stuff. They cost 3,860 money. You need to have the timber, you need to buy the steel from the market, the cement, the machine parts and the lumber. Now a lot of things we already have. I think we have timber and lumber on our own. But the machine parts and the cement and the steel need to be bought from the world market because we don't produce it. And that is why you want to produce it or sphere people that make these stuff, so you have access to it. Now this is the RGO output. Let's talk about that in the next episode. Population density. Here you can see how many people are living on the world. So if you click on your own country, you can see that a lot of people are living over here. It's red. And there are almost no people living over here. And when you click away, you can see where a lot of people live in the world. For example, over here in Poltava, there is almost 400,000 people. And in China, you have 1.6 million. So imagine if we conquered this province from China. Our population goes from 1 to 2.6. 2.6 million. If we conquer Northern Zili. But we can't conquer it because it's the capital of China, so and you cannot take their capital. Just imagine if we could take this land here, we could tax all these people. And we can turn them into soldiers. That is why this population map mode is pretty handy. At the beginning I will focus on this area here, a bit of Ethiopia, because there live a lot of people there. And I want them. Nationality, you can see that there are Swedish over here, the Norwegians are here, the Finnish are here. You can see the Flemish and Wallonians, and the North and South Germans. This is the sphere map. You can see which countries of the top 8 are sphered by the great powers. We have the supply limit. We have supply in our own country more than in the enemy's country territory, so this is green and the rest is red. Party loyalty, not really interesting. Ranking. The greener, the higher the ranking. These countries are very low on the list. The yellow ones as well. If there's any migration, how that goes. Now normally there's migration in the USA, but I don't see it right now, maybe because I did not unpass the game. Which countries are civilized and which ones are not. If you attack a country that is not civilized, you can take more land with less infamy and they will become a colony. If we attack a civilized nation, for example Russia, and we colonize their states, those will become my states and we can build factories there. But it's also more expensive to take civilized states. So at the start of the game we will focus on Sokoto, Egypt, Ethiopia, Oman over here, maybe something in Indonesia here as well. Johor is having a lot of gold, because these are not civilized. It's easier to take their land. Your relations with other people. The Russians really like me apparently. Why is that? We don't want to align, but we have a very good relation with them. And when there are crises, you can see when you click on the crisis map mode that there is a flashpoint tension going on. And it just tells that people over there are trying to break free, and when there is enough flashpoint tension, I think when it gets to 100%, there will be a crisis, and all the great powers need to pick a stance. Sometimes Greece wants to break free, the people here, and then the great powers have to say, Ottomans, you have to give away the Greek state to the Greek Empire. For example, this one will go to Greece. And then Russia say no, the Ottomans can keep it for their own. And then France say yes, you have to give it away. And then you get a huge war sometimes. That is how a crisis works. Now, we went over all the map modes. We went over all the tabs here. We still have to explain a bit about the military and what RGOs are. And in the next episode we will talk about RGOs and what the pops do and how much you want from each pop type in your country. So please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I hope to see you in part number 3. Bye bye.